Right, countdown. Welcome to Chalk Talk. My name's Joe White, and today I've got a good friend of mine, former player that I've played with, Nick Peare. Nick has had a stellar non-league career, and I'm just really interested to talk to him today about how that has gone. And he's had quite a very unique journey through the pyramid system, and looking forward to talking to him about that today. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good, Joe. All good. How are you? Keeping all right?
Yeah, all very well, thanks. So just for the viewers' sake, obviously everyone knows you as Des, don't they? So I'll just call you that if you like throughout this.
No worries.
Can you shed any light on why that's the case?
It was just a stitch up by my college lecturer, would you believe? Sat in front of a lecturer there, middle name's Desmond, UCAS applications up on the board, everyone's seen my name's middle name's Desmond, and then it stuck from there. And that was that. There was no going back after that, I don't think.
Nice, yeah. No, that's good. Rolls off the tongue a bit better, doesn't it? Yeah. So I know you as Des. Everyone knows you as Des. So I'll address you as that if you don't mind, mate. I'm really glad to have you on. Thanks for coming on, mate. And
no worries.
It's just we were just talking just before we went live, weren't we, about how you've had quite a sort of unique journey through the sort of non-league pyramid system in local sort of football. And we'll get into that a little bit more. And what I sort of mean by that. But just first of all, tell us about your sort of experiences growing up then in and around sport and football when you were younger.
Yeah, just I think kind of the same as every kid, I think, in our age. Who was, you just first experiences for me were just going up to the local park and getting involved in the local kind of non-league, well, not even non-league, just a local kind of Sunday league sports team. It's Stratton Youth for me. It was an absolute diamond of a little club. I mean, it was literally kind of a 2-second walk from my house. You walk over the field and all of a sudden you're with like 10, 15 mates all just kicking a ball around and all the rest of it. And I'd say that's the biggest, earliest memory for me. And then the same goes with just my brothers then. Like, obviously, lucky I've got kind of 4 brothers, and we spent loads of time either in the back garden or up at the park just kicking footballs around and stuff like that. And much to my mum and dad's annoyance, I remember a lot of broken ornaments in the living room and stuff like that. But that's my earliest memories, I think, of just kind of just kicking a ball around with your mates. And I think that's where it starts for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. No, fantastic. So it's nice to obviously, because I only got one sister. So when I was growing up, I used to have to kick the ball against the wall myself, or go out with my dad when he was around. And this, or try and rely on a mate. But it's nice just having your brothers there to do it with, isn't it? Brilliant.
Yeah, mate, definitely. There's countless kind of like 1v1s, just in the back garden or in the living room or whatever. It's good crack, good fun.
No, brilliant. So growing up then, were you? I know that you joined Bristol City Academy then. What age was that?
Under 11s, under 12s, I think. So I had a good amount of time playing our Sunday league, which is great. And I think that's arguably, I think if I had my time again, I think I'd want to maybe play that level for a little bit longer, which sounds bizarre, but I don't think you can replace that time when you just kind of, you're really thoroughly enjoying your football and stuff like that, and you're playing with your mates, and you're not under any pressure, you're not under any thing, and you should, and don't get me wrong, that pressure is good at times. Is it right at kind of 11, 12 years old? I don't think so. No. And I'd love to have played that level for a little bit longer.
I was talking to Scott Wilson before on a previous episode, and he was saying that when he joined City, they wouldn't let him play for another. Yeah. So was that the same for you then?
Yeah, same for me. Yeah. So once you sign for City, that's it. Like you're playing for them, and you're going away on your Saturday morning, Sunday morning, whenever it was, and you're training Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's not lost on me the effort and the commitment that my old man put in. Do you know what I mean? Driving from Siren to Bristol 3 times a week for me to go training, and then
a good stint, isn't it? Cool.
It's 45-50 minutes there and back, and although I wouldn't even want to know kind of how much money he lost out on by having to finish work early or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And what so it's a massive commitment from everyone involved, and that's not lost on me at all. And I was very, very lucky to be able to have that available. And it was one of those where when I was growing up, around that time that City signed me, was Swindon wanted me to go there, Cheltenham wanted me to go there. I had a trial at Reading as well, and it's kind of like the old man's put in a fair stint here, which I'm very, very lucky for. And there's plenty of people out there who maybe weren't in a position for that to happen. So that was a big impact on me growing up, I guess.
Yeah, no, great. So what position were you in them days then when you were in the academy? Where were they playing you?
I've had the classic kind of go in as a centre forward and just gradually find my way backwards.
Right.
Yeah, no, I went there as I was playing.
Were you bigger than everyone else then?
No, I'm a complete opposite to things. So when I was 16, when I left City, I was 16 years old in the body of a 12-year-old. Like, I wasn't anywhere near puberty.
Wow.
I was about 5'6", 5'7".
I was going to say, because you're a monster now, aren't you? Jesus.
I wouldn't say monster. Try to say why. No, but it's one of them where I was late to the party in terms of that, in terms of puberty, and that had a big. I'd love to have known where I kind of fitted if I'd have gone early, or just gone at the same rate as everyone else. Because you never know whether it's genuine or whether it's just an excuse they gave or whatever. But that kind of leaving meeting from Bristol City was, we're a little bit concerned about your size. We don't think you're going to be big enough or strong enough thing. And which is, if it's just an excuse they've given to ease me out the door, fair enough. Like, I've seen enough of the young lads that come through to know that I probably wasn't at the level I needed to go and make it as a pro, and I'm fine with that.
At that time,
but if I'd have been 6'3", at 16, 17, would they have made the same decision? I don't know. I'm not sure. But then again, would I have developed everything else that I've developed alongside that? So one of those, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah, no, interesting. So obviously, we're on to that sort of period then when obviously you sort of got released from City. What was it? So, I mean, some lads take it really. Obviously, we're talking just before we come on as well. Was that like a crushing blow for you, or were you like?
Oh, I cried.
Right.
Yeah, because you've put, and I think one of the things with me at that, I don't think I ever really, I played some brilliant players in that age group. Chris Ribeiro went on to have a great career. Chris Plum went on to have a great career. I think probably the best technical player I've ever seen in Tom Hamilton. Didn't quite happen for him, but you kind of like, I'm streaks behind him. Like, so it was it was mad. When you're leaving there, you're kind of thinking, I'm gutted. But equally, I don't think I ever really believed I was at that level that those guys were at anyway.
That's honest.
And I think you've got to be. I think you've got to be. There's no point in me sitting there saying, I'm devastated that they let me go. I should have been afforded the opportunity elsewhere. At that time, there were players that were streets ahead of me. So that's why they got offered, youth contracts and ultimately pro contracts, and I didn't. That is what it is. But yeah, I think it then definitely did have a part on why Cheltenham wanted me to go there. I just flat out turned it down. Didn't even bother going and speaking to them or anything like that. It's like my old man had the phone call. He said to me like, "Oh, Cheltenham want you to go down there. Do you want to go and have a look?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm just going to go to Hartbury." And yeah, so I went to Hartbury, and I'm not going to say that was it for me at football at that point, but I kind of think deep down you're like, I'm going to push stuff. I want to try and get as good as I can, but kind of deep down you probably know I'm not gonna make it as a pro. And I was just very honest with myself at that point. And you knuckle down and you try and make the best of what you got. And for me, that was a good college education. Went on to uni and play football alongside that and see how we go.
Yeah. Did your parents stress the importance of obviously making sure your studies were there as well? Because I hear a lot of contradicting viewpoints on this. Like a lot of people say, yeah, you need a backup plan. Don't just ditch your studies. And then I think I've even heard Ferguson say that, well, actually, if they want to be that good, then they just need to dedicate it to football, and sort of studies need to be the last thing on your list. There's lots of differing views on that. What were your family and what were your views on that?
My mum and dad were always big on kind of academics. Mainly, I think, because the opportunities that they didn't have that came from, like, dad left school before he finished. My mum, like, finished school and stuff, but she never. I don't think she was ever. I never respected her about it, to be honest, but I don't think she ever really kind of threw herself into schoolwork. And I think they always stress, like, the importance of, like, good grades are going to give you good opportunities. So that was a big thing right from the off. And I was never able to get away without doing any schoolwork or anything like that. And I was reading something this morning, to be fair, like, and talking about kind of Premier League stars at the moment and their GCSE grades, and it's remarkable how many of them have come out with very, very, very good GCSEs. Saka's come away with, like, a host of A stars. Kane came away with a few A stars, and these big names, thinking, well, actually, I think if you've got that level of intellect, that level of IQ to operate on a football field at a high level, you could probably apply yourself and sort that out in a classroom.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I obviously went to Hartpury as well, and they always used to push it. They said there's lots of studies been done saying that if you sort of engage with that intellectual side of things, then it's going to make you a more intelligent sports person, whether that be football or rugby or whatever. And I really believe in that as well, having been through it, probably same as yourself.
Yeah, I think 100%. You just, if nothing else, you just start to, and obviously the teacher then comes out with me now, and it's like, you start thinking, if you start thinking analytically in one thing, that automatically just transfers into everything else that you start to look at. You start thinking analytically at a football field, whatever book you're reading, whatever piece of work you're doing for your course or whatever, that those analytical skills come to the forefront in everything then. And you can't tell me that's not a good thing. Like that is a good thing for your sporting life, your academic life, your social life. Like that's a good skill for you to develop and to have, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So you went to Hartpury, and obviously I know then you went on to Exeter Uni. So the Hartpury and Exeter Uni experiences, do you want to just talk us through them quickly?
Yeah, no, they brilliant. Loved every minute of it. Very, very different. Like, for me, whilst I was at Hartpury, there was still quite a big football focus. Obviously, I was doing, like, a football focused course. And even then, like, some of the players that we attracted there, they're coming from everywhere. We had a couple of lads from Ghana, obviously, in. Yeah. I know they've got that link. It's quite a heavy link now. Yeah. And those lads were brilliant. Lie and tell you, they were fantastic footballers. Yeah. So they were class. And even then, like, you've just been released from a professional club, and you're thinking, right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to be kind of, in and around that first team, and that's not the case. Like,
standards high.
Standards so high. Yeah.
Tom Radcliffe, was he?
Yeah. So, Radders was there. Yeah, when I was there, and he's kind of, you have a conversation with him before you go, and he was brilliant. And Tim Jenkins was there when I was there, but the caliber of players is just so high. Like, throughout my 2 years there, I played in the second team for the majority of my time there. A couple of appearances for the first team, but I was a left back at that point. Right. The first team left back, Duffo, he was playing for England schools, and then Paul Casey was at the university there, but still eligible to play for the thing, and he was playing for the British universities, I think, at that point. And you're like,
high standard.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Like, that is what it is, and I think it'd have been quite easy for some people to get despondent with that, but I think that then comes back to, do you love playing football or not? And if you love playing football, then you're going to play and you're going to try and get better regardless. And I think then, you can get onto a whole, you could talk about this for hours, but whether you internalise or externalise your importance of football for you as a person. And for me, as much as kind of like, now I'm 31, the body's a bit older and you're a bit achier. Like, the Tuesday night comes along, you're like, oh, I've got to go and have a run around. But as soon as you get there, it's HTR, you love it, then the kid just comes out of you again, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, great. So obviously on to Exeter then. What about obviously what academic course did you do at Exeter?
So I did my undergraduate degree was sport and exercise sciences, and then I stayed on and did a master's degree in sport and health sciences there as well. And that was brilliant. I loved that. For me, for that point, my first and second year, I really kind of tried to give football, still try and play as high a level of football as I possibly can. And, I went to Taunton in my second year and was there up until about Christmas, but wasn't really getting a look in. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to just play football now. I'm just going to enjoy football for the time that I'm at university. And that's, to be honest, at that point, I was kind of like, I'm just going to play football because I love playing football. And that's brilliant. What I'm going to do. I'm quite good at it. I enjoy playing it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I went and played actually for a couple of lads who I was at Hartbury with. They were from Devon and they'd obviously gone back home. I went and played for Sidmouth in like the Devon and Exeter League, Potato League or whatever it was. It was absolutely horrendous.
Potato League. I'll have to look that one up.
It was,
nice.
Again, like a great bunch of lads and a great kind of like team atmosphere and a great kind of environment to be in, and then played with them for the rest of my second year, and then played for the uni team just on a Saturday and Saturday and midweek. The same Devon and Exeter Potato League. Like it was but you just loved it. Like you love playing football, and you love kind of being around those lads. And there's some good players that are playing in those leagues as well. Like it's not, people think, oh, bad league, bad facilities, there's going to be bad players knocking about. It's not like there's some good footballers knocking about at every level.
Decent footballers in the Potato League. That's brilliant. I love that. So what was the nightlife scene like at uni?
Yeah, no, good. You're there, like, obviously you got games on Wednesdays, and like people are like, yeah, come on, this is serious. We're representing the university, and then before you know it, it's like 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night, and you're like, oh, football tomorrow. But it's really, really good. Very, very local. Exeter's kind of was perfect for me. Whereas I'm not a big city bloke. Don't necessarily like being in a big kind of bustling city, but what Exeter was perfect. It was like you had that kind of city element, but it was still kind of like a small town feel as well. So it was nice. It was a nice kind of area to be in and go out in. Like you could go out and you bump before you know it. You go out as a group of 3, and you're in a group of 12 because you just bump into a load of lads that So that was good, and enjoyed that. Enjoyed that element of it, which was class, obviously. And then that was that really. Brilliant. But it was good.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously you wrapped. Did you say you did a master's?
Yeah, I did a master's. Yeah, in sport and health sciences.
So that was at Exeter as well then.
Yeah, stayed on for a 4th year. I got asked to kind of. I was on an R-in, and I was looking at kind of what was out there and what was required, and a lot of the sports-related jobs you needed. They weren't really looking at anyone with undergraduate degrees, to be honest. It was you needed a master's degree to get more. It just needed a bit more to get through those first stages of interview, or not even interview, just to get your application picked up. Hence why I stayed on, did that, and then captained the men's first team as well. When I did that, which basically meant I was in charge of absolutely everything. You're coaching, you're playing, you're picking all the kit.
What position? What position were you playing then?
I was playing centre half at that point.
Right.
Playing centre half with good mate Dan Sandel, another unbelievable footballer who never really did it for whatever reason. But again, another so good, far better than I ever was, but just never. I don't think he could ever really be bothered, to be honest. But just naturally so gifted. He's a local lad from Siren as well, so he was down with me, and we just played centre half. It was a good crack. Played in that, some good experiences. Played like in the varsity game where we played like an Exeter under 23s, under 18 side. But funny because they're all coming up and they're all playing in the non-league pyramid now. I kind of played against them when they were kind of like 17, and you recognise kind of the faces and the lads that were in there. Some good players in there that have gone to some good careers as well. Yeah.
No, great. So obviously that sort of brings your uni experience and sort of footballing there to a close then. So So talk us through. So you obviously left uni then, and obviously it's a case of, well, you need to get a job, I suppose, and obviously you still want to try and play football. So just talk us through what unravelled after you left uni.
Yeah, so I came home, moved back to Siren, needed a job, and I was kind of just scrolling through, and there was a lecturing position came up at Siren College. At the same time, there was an internship with a company called Pro Football Support. I got offered both, but I didn't really want the year of earning no money, and working for free. So I took the lecturing position, which I'm still in. But yeah, went there obviously with no teaching qualification. Got put through my teaching qualification there, and and that was kind of how I got into that. And then obviously I'd come home. I hadn't played football around home now I was at City, and then I went and I was at Hartbury and playing in that Hartbury thing, and then obviously went down to Exeter. So I hadn't played for any local team for years and years and years, and didn't have a club. Like didn't really know where to go. Like it's still at this point, and people now probably laugh, like who know me, but I was still quite an unconfident lad at that point, and I was never going to go somewhere and be like, oh, can I come on trial, or I was never going to do that. Like, so
no,
it wasn't until Sammy Taylor, who I was at uni with and was playing obviously with us at Tiverton Rock.
Sammy T.
Yeah, Sammy T, what a legend, the hero.
Shout out.
And yeah, he turned around and was like, oh, Des, just come down to Tibbs, like be happy to have you. And I think Gary Powell probably saw this great big lurch looking bloke turn up, a little bit gangly, a little bit gamely, thinking, Sammy, what have you brought me here? And I think I started on the bench twice, came on both times, and then after that, I think I started every game. So
yeah,
it was, that was nice. And that was, again, just traveling like 35 minutes. I didn't know anyone, but it's the group of lads we had in that group were mental. I've never seen anything like it. And B, just like top blokes. Do you know what I mean? Every time you drive into training to go and train under one floodlight that couldn't light a living room, on a cabbage patch, but you didn't think anything of it because the lads were so good, and it was such a good group that we had there, and yeah, absolutely loved it. So then what did we play? 2 years at Tibbs, wasn't it? I think when we were together 2 years at Tibbs.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. I'm not sure when you would have joined, but obviously,
it was. I think it was around that, and some of the wildest thing I've ever seen in football at that club, where you've got lads. I remember I got home. Partner at the time's kind of in the kitchen. He's like, your football bag stinks. No. And you're like, I don't know. I must have just been in the car, like, I don't know, it was sweaty or whatever. And I dived into my football bag and pulled out like a dead rat in a plastic bag. And you're like, that is mental. Where else does that happen? And
we won't name the person who did that, but there was a phase of that. Every lad had a different animal in their bag, didn't they, each week? And no one could work out who it was, could they?
No, it was unbelievable, unbelievable bit of banter from whoever's done that. Not something I've ever thought of, but it was hilarious until it happens to you, and then it's a little bit like,
you're a bit cross. You're a bit cross then, aren't you? Yeah.
That was good.
But no, I agree with you, mate. I think we had a great little team spirit there, didn't we? And I think as much as anything, it probably links back to having a successful team at that sort of level. The team spirit, I know that's an overused word, but that team spirit and camaraderie we had there was quite something special. I know you've gone on to have that at other clubs as well, which we'll come on to. But talk to us a little bit about that. That's important, isn't it, that side of the game?
100%. I think even more so, I think at non-league and that level of non-league where, lads aren't being paid. They're there because they want to be there. They're there because they give it. In some cases, I know they've restructured the leagues around now, and I think they're a little bit more local. But in some cases, lads are travelling a fair distance out their own pocket.
Yeah,
you've got to enjoy turning up, because if you're not enjoying turning up, you're not going to be motivated to get out. And if you want to be successful, which everyone does, I don't care what you say. Like, everyone wants to win at stuff, don't they? That competitive nature comes out.
Sure.
Everyone. And you've got to enjoy it. So I'd argue even more so at non-league level. You have to have that kind of fun factor there, which, you know, Paula did a great job, and Woody did a great job of getting all of us lads, you know, on the same page and enjoying the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because without that, you know, how long is everyone sticking at it, and how long is everyone thing? And you quickly saw people come in, didn't really want to get on board with like the team spirit, the group camaraderie and that kind of thing, and they quickly find their way back out the door as well. So it speaks volumes like that of how important not just it is to be successful, but how every person values that as well.
Sure. Sometimes I think some of these young lads now need to embrace that a little bit more. Sometimes you talk about what you think of yourself and what you think other people perceive you as, and sometimes I think some of these lads have got quite a high opinion of themselves, and they need to go there and sort of embrace all that, don't they, and try and just relax and enjoy it before they can actually start playing well, as opposed to, well, I'm going to come in here and I'm better than these, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's all about coming in with an open mind, isn't it, and being really honest with yourself, and being like, you can go into every situation, and if you go into that situation thinking, I'm going to learn something here, I'm going to take something from this situation that I find myself in, and probably skipping on a bit here, but you know, being at Yate, we had 4 lads come in from Bristol City, and they're the 4 best low knees I've ever seen in my life. Like, as in, you couldn't put a value on how important they were for us as a group, in keeping us up in. I know the league got null and voided in the end, but they would have no doubt kept us in the league. And you're talking about 4 17-year-olds here, by the way. And that's purely because they came in, and I don't know what it is. I think Bristol City need an unbelievable amount of credit for how their academy lads go into clubs, because we had it with Brad, with Louis, with Tommy, Belly, JT, and Joe. Like, they came in with the most unbelievable attitude to wanting to get better and wanting to learn. Yeah. And probably within one training session realised, hang on a minute, we are heads and shoulders above these lads here. But still came in with that attitude of, I'm here to develop, I'm here to learn, I'm here to build something. Whereas you have lads from other clubs, football league clubs, and they don't come in with that. They don't come in with that attitude. They come in with kind of one that's a little bit more closed off, a little bit kind of like, why am I here on loan? You know, I feel like I'm better than this. And there's some good players that play in the league, and you can learn stuff. You can learn from things, and you might have more potential than the people that are playing, but at that moment in time, they're more effective. So learn from them. Exactly. And that's 100% what those City lads did. And I'm not surprised at all that all of them are going on and doing, you know, brilliant things. You know, Tommy and Belly are playing in the first team at the moment. Joe's just got a great loan move to Eastleigh. Like, all been given contract extensions. So it goes to show, and I'm not trying to say that Yate was the reason for that at all. It's not. No. But it's the attitude that they came in with, I think, speaks volumes about what their development.
I think they're also lucky. Obviously, I'm not taking anything away from that at all, but they're also lucky that they got characters like yourself and one or two other experienced, what I'd call proper non-league players there that sort of get it and are going to actually be good leaders and role models for them lads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Ken, I'm not taking any credit for where they've got to.
Yeah, no, I know. But I know you being the way you are, and one or two of them other lads that were there, where you would be like a positive role model for them, as opposed to being a bit of a negative sapper or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from, but I think that's just kind of me as a person. Anyway, I'm not trying to be that for them. I'm not trying to be that for anyone else. Like, that's just. I think just being positive towards them, trying to build them with loads of confidence and stuff like that. And mainly I was trying to build them with confidence because I wanted them to carry on playing the way we're doing. Because if they were playing all right, we were probably going to win games. Sure. You know, Tommy and Sam at 17 years old, it was just unbelievable, them two up front. I mean, if I was playing non-league and you saw that there was 2 17-year-old lads from a pro club playing up front against you on a Tuesday night, I'd be licking my lips. I'm thinking, I've got the night off here. Sure. And they made some pretty good non-league centre halves look like village idiots at times. And that's, I'm taking nothing away from the lads that they've played against. That's just, they were that good. And you're like, that's, that's all down to their attitude and their upbringing, I guess.
Yeah, great. So we went off a bit, but that's fine, no problem.
Yeah, we've gone off on the tangent. Sorry, mate.
That's good. Nice organic conversation. That's what we like. So after Titherington, then we had a couple of years together there. Obviously, I played with you there, and we won the league, and we couldn't go up because they couldn't get the floodlights and all the rest of it. We won't go too much into that, but that was frustrating at the time, wasn't it? And then talk us through what happened then.
Yeah, obviously, again, at this point, I'm playing just because I enjoy playing football, and we went to Longwell. And Gary obviously moved over there, got off the manager job at Longwell, which was a league up. It wasn't in a Toolstation Premier or whatever it was. And gone over to Longwell there. And I literally only went there because all you boys went over. Pardon me. So I just thought, right, well, I enjoy playing football this lot. Let's just go over there and have a look. And it was a bit more travelling for me. John Gibbs was good, like the chairman there, kind of like, he was like, I'll help you out with some travel money when I can. And he did, to be fair, like, by no means was it regular, but he definitely helped me out when he could, and that was class for me. And like, he didn't have to do that at all. Which, and that was brilliant. Kind of, we were just there, weren't we, for only a season. But it was a good fun season playing in the Toolstation League, which at that point was the highest league I'd played in or played in regularly. And what an eye opener that was. Like that Toolstation League is, it's a tough league, like just physically tough, like a physically tough, demanding league.
How did you find it to play in?
Say again.
How did you find it to play in?
Everyone's a monster, aren't they? Like everyone's like, I don't know what is in the water in the middle of Bristol, but it's just you're playing against it, and just everyone's like big blokes, happy with physical contact, happy with it being a little bit. I can't remember where we went, but it's like the first time I've ever just genuinely been chinned on a football pitch, where like, you're going, just about to attack a header or whatever, and I've just had one straight across the chops, and you're like, what has happened there? Like, and it was a real eye opener, and again,
and the ref's not seen it.
But it was, but that's again another like big learning experience, isn't it? Like you either rise to that and go to that challenge. I know that sounds a little bit philosophical for like non-league football, but you do either want to embrace that challenge as a person, or you turn around and go, actually, that's not really for me. And you probably fall by the wayside and you don't play that level ever again. But I enjoyed it. I'm happy with that. I'm happy kind of having a little bit of a physical battle with people, and it was I used to love it. It was good fun. Yeah,
brilliant. So after that, then talk us through. So you moved on to Shortwood, then, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Shortwood, and again, this was kind of I only moved to Shortwood really because you left Longwell, went to Shortwood. Sammy Taylor went over with you, and obviously Sammy was one of my good mates who was at Longwell with and Tibbs with. So again, like still just playing football because I wanted to have a little go, and I had a really good Morph. Obviously, Will Morford had he had brilliant non-league career, and great lad. And I remember I worked with Morph, and I had a conversation where we were playing with Longwell. I was like, I don't know whether I'd like to think I could probably do a job in the league above when we were playing. I was playing at Longwell, and Morph was just he had a smile on his face. Oh, don't be a shoulda, woulda, coulda. And believe it or not, he probably didn't know this, but that conversation had a pretty big impact on my decision to go, all right then, cool, I'll go and actually decide whether I can or can't do it.
Great.
And hence why I ended up going to Shortwood and thinking, right, no, I actually do want to try and play this level. And that was the first time really since I was probably 16.
Yeah. So how old were you then? What were you then? 24, 25?
Sure, I must have been 25. 24,
right.
25.
Wow, so are you the same age as me? Are you 31, are you?
31, yeah.
Right, yeah.
31. Okay. Old now. But yeah, no, that was the first time since I was maybe 16 that I'd thought to myself, right, I actually want to play football as high and as high as I can for as long as I can, and see what I can actually see, where I fit, see where I fall. And in hindsight, I wish I'd made the decision earlier. You know, I had that years. Don't get me wrong, I loved just playing for thing, but you know me, Joe. I've never been in great shape. I've never really looked after myself in the gym. I've always just got by on, you know, what I'd like to think is a little bit of ability and a little bit of football IQ, and that's what's kind of, you know, been sums me up really. Physically not brilliant, but knows a little bit. And so yeah, that's why I decided to go and play for Shortwood, and was there for 2 good years, to be fair. 2 really good years. Really enjoyed it. Under Sykesy and Evo, and then just Sykesy obviously in the second year.
Yeah, Sykesy's a good bloke when he's proper.
Yeah, really great guy, and they were brilliant for me at that time as well, because it was, you know, there was a lot of Shortwood weren't throwing money around. I was there for like next to no money, and but you're there because, again, like for me, that next to no money was, crikey, I'm getting like some beer money put in my pocket to kick a football on last Saturday, which I would have been doing anyway.
You were happy to be there, weren't you? And loved being there, and just loved playing. And what did they move you? Did you mainly play in defence or midfield then at Shortwood once you sort of cemented yourself as a regular?
Yeah, so I was on the bench for, you know, the first kind of 5-6 games of the season.
Yeah,
and then I think we went away to, I want to say Burnham or Tottenham, one of the two. And yeah, played centre half and had a good game. Like, you know, I think we kept a clean sheet. I scored one. And you're like, I scored like a ridiculous, like, sidey swazzer as well. I was like,
I remember it.
Yeah. And played ever since then. But it was kind of like, I was started off at centre half, and then we went away to Oxford in a FA Cup game, and I think we had a couple of injuries, and I played in midfield and did all right in midfield, and then ended up staying in midfield for the majority of it, and kind of flicking between the two. In the end. But
I seem to remember at that point your sort of confidence levels going from, like, I sort of remember you having that moment where it's like, actually, I'm better than most of these players. Not that sort of moment where you could tell that you were like, I'm a starter. I'm here to, like, be one of the main players in the team. I remember that in my mind, and it was from you going from, like, being, can I play at this level? Can't I? And it's like, no, yeah, you can, and you're better than most of these players, you know.
Yeah, lovely to hear. But
well,
I'd say I'm almost the opposite, you know. Like,
really,
yeah. Like, throughout my entire football career, if you want to call it a career, as I've always been that, I don't think I'm going to start, and I love that. I've loved that kind of like fear of, am I going to be on the start sheet? Am I going to be, like, better than the lad I'm playing against? That's what gets me through games. I don't think I can be the guy who's like, I know I'm going to start here. I know I'm going to, because as soon as I get complacent. As soon as I'm, like, complacent, I've never just had it really. I've never had that, like, confidence of
even when you're captain at Yate. Then, well, surely when you became captain.
Nah. Oh, I'm always
really?
I was always like, kind of, I'd fake it. I'd 100% fake it, being like, yeah, no, I'm a good player here. I'm, you know, but I think I've always been, you know, very much am I good enough? Am I going to be better than the lad I'm playing against? Am I going to kind of get made to look an idiot today, or whatever it is going through? And then from that, I just concentrate more, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'd like to think, kind of, you know, I'm an okay footballer, but I've never kind of gone into you talk about a moment where you think, oh, you're definitely going to start.
Yeah,
I think I've always kind of been, I think your confidence comes from experience, doesn't it? And as soon as I got some experience, I knew I could cope with it.
Right.
But then it was very much like, right, who am I playing against today? Like, is he going to make me, look like an idiot or whatever? And I'm going to have to really be on it. And that's what kind of, I guess, you're constantly just trying to prove to myself, like, yep, no, you're good enough. You're still good enough. Or yep, you can do it. Or yep, you're good enough to play at this level. Or yep, you're. That's just that constant validation I'm trying to give to myself.
I find that fascinating, mate, because you've you've had a great non-league career, and talking to other players that have played against you and stuff. Like I was trying to think of the right word here, but I know a lot of players who play against you would find you intimidating to play against, if that makes sense. And the fact that you sort of have this sometimes in your mind where, just being honest, like a lot of players who play against you they'll be like, oh god, I'm playing against him today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess like that, if they have that's only because I'm respecting what I'm playing against and playing, and you're always there thinking. I think, I don't know. Maybe it's just me and my approach, but I'm constantly trying to give myself that, particularly on a football pitch, where you're like, give yourself that validation of, I can do this. I'm good at this level. I can play at this level. I'm like the world's biggest self-critic, and that goes in everything. Like that's my job, like studies I'm doing at the moment, whether it's like football, whether it's whatever. And I guess that, I don't know. I guess that's just the upbringing. Sure. Like, I mean, my mum and dad were, they were always kind of like very much like, what could you do better? What could you improve on? And that's a good thing. Also a bad thing at times, I think. But definitely a good thing the majority of the time as well. But yeah, no, don't know. It's always had that kind of got to carry on proving to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah. But perhaps that's what makes you sort of, a good and established player.
I think so.
In that non-league scene, No, great stuff, mate. So obviously, Shortwood, I think there's a few financial issues there, didn't they? And they got demoted, and then you moved. They got demoted, didn't they? Or a few players left. Did you ever go at Mangotsfield for a bit then?
Yeah, I went to Mango's. Boris rang me and
right.
He was we'll bring over to Mango's, and I was like, yeah, cool. I went over, I was back playing, obviously travelling to Bristol and stuff. And yeah, Boris wasn't there very long when I got there. I think he left about a month in, and then kind of Thorny came in, and he brought his kind of style and stuff on. And again, I got on really well with Thorny, and he was.
You play up front? You not play up front for a bit there?
I played.
Just off the
I
front
played
line?
Absolutely everywhere at Mango's. I played played left. I went back to left back for a while. Played in midfield for a bit. I played centre half. I didn't quite get my foray up front, but it was near enough everywhere else. And then I was only kind of there for maybe, I think I'd left by November, so I wasn't there very long.
Right.
But again, a good club, good people. And I think that's kind of like non-league all over, isn't it? All these non-league clubs are run by good people. They're all giving up their time for nothing, and they're all kind of trying to make the club the best they can. So there's a lot of good people that run these clubs, and you're always made to feel welcome. I think if you're not made to feel welcome, probably internalise the blame there rather than externalise it, because there's a lot of good people that are knocking about.
Yeah, definitely. So then, obviously, how did the transfer to Yate come about then? Who signed you for Yate? Did Polly sign you? Or?
Polly signed me. And that came about really because Davo went from Mango's to Yate, and then he was like, "I'll go and grab Des," and there I went and headed straight over to Yate from there, and had a great time there. Like that. That's for me. I've probably played my best football I've ever played at Yate, and I can only credit Polly and Judders and Cuts for that, and Nige, purely on the basis that they just got me loving playing football, like loving it again, like absolutely loving it. Like kind of Shortwood was brilliant. We had a great little team morale at Shortwood. Mango's, like, I was struggling with some stuff on my own as well, and so wasn't really in the best headspace there, and probably didn't do Boris any justice. But then Thorny, got me back enjoying football. But then I went to Yate, and it was just the fun factor was unbelievable. And there was a great group of lads, a great kind of atmosphere, and Polly gave me a lot of freedom and a lot of kind of room to just play football. I wanted to play football, and that was really, really enjoyable, you know. And you know, there wasn't really much. He coached where he needed to and gave guidance where he needed to with like in terms of team and structure and stuff. But he really kind of just gave. I think he did this with everyone who played for him. Was just, you know, gave people room to enjoy themselves and play football. So that was, you know, was class for me at Yate, and he was 100% one of the biggest reasons why I've probably played the best football of my non-league career.
Really decent bloke and good managers. Obviously, the pitch at Yate is fantastic, and it obviously suit you down to ground because you like to try and play. Obviously, you're a physical player as well in terms of getting around the pitch and getting your tackles in and winning your headers. But obviously, technically, you've got a great left foot as well, and the pitch must have suited you down to the ground. I want to talk about the promotion campaign, because I'm quite interested in the sort of intricacies of that. So do you want us to, because obviously you got promoted and you went up through the playoffs, didn't you? Won in the playoff final on the last day there. Yeah. So just I'm interested just to free rein, you go. I'm interested to hear about how that went.
That playoff season was unbelievable. And mainly, I think, again, we touched on it earlier, the importance of having a good group and a good group of lads that you know, really kind of just embraced everything about non-league football.
Yeah,
going out for beers with the boys on a Saturday, you know, having a beer after training. We had that promotion campaign. Like, people are probably thinking, "God, they must have been Tuesday, Thursday every week." We were not. We were Thursday every week, and once a month, the last Thursday of the month as well. We didn't train; we just went out for food. Went to the pub next to the ground for food, but it was one of those where like people were travelling an hour to get there for food, and like we'd have food, have a couple of beers, and then obviously back home. And that was that team ethos that we had. And there was a really, you know, a good group of lads in there. 40 was in there, who's, you know, a bit of a cannon. Mace was in there as well, and Mace Evans. Just a real good group of lads who enjoyed each other's company and thing. And once we got out onto the football pitch, that fun factor, I think, just came through. And I think you could probably look at that squad and say it wasn't probably the best squad in the league. I don't think anyone in our team would mind me saying that. I don't think it was the best squad in the league, but we definitely worked the hardest, and we definitely kind of you know, we were all in for everyone, and we set ourselves up in a way that really just played to our strengths. And you know, talk
us more about that, about the setup.
Yeah, so we played Diamond for the majority of the year, and we quickly kind of just thought, right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave both their centre halves, leave them on the football. That's fine. Only when one of them kind of gets into our half are we ever going to try and put a little bit of pressure on the ball. Overload the midfield, and you can't underestimate. You know, we had some great lads who played in there with me with some unbelievable energy levels. Like Joe Guest I've never seen anyone run so much on a football pitch in my life. And again, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying, like, technically probably not the best footballer you've ever seen, but his energy levels and his work rate and his game understanding is brilliant. So that gets him by, and he does really, really well in there. And he'd be the first name. He probably was the first name on the team sheet every week because he really knitted everything together. So you had him ratting around in there, 4 bodies in the middle of the pitch, and then just leave the 2 centre halves on the football pitch on the ball and force them to hit diags and force them to kick it long. And that was the good thing about our team as well. We had a bit of everything. You know, we had a great big centre half in 40 who would love to go and win headers, and alongside him we had a nippy centre half who could cover any of his kind of like weaknesses, if you like. Yeah, we had pace up front in a couple of different people, to be fair. So Ollie May was quick up front, got a lot of goals for us that year. You know, we had a bit of everything. We had a bit of everything. I don't think you'd probably ever say we had like the best in the league. This, that, or any other. But we definitely had a bit of everything. And we could switch it up quite nicely. And You know, I remember
So
going down.
did the fullbacks bomb on then, or?
Yeah, gave the fullbacks loads of width, knowing that you had a holding midfield player there, and the two centre forwards when we were defending dealt with their wingers, and then as soon as we won the ball, they were trying to just occupy spaces in between fullback and centre half, and that's how we got a lot of our goals. You look at, I think if you watched all of our goals back, the amount of times that people were just getting slipped down the side of a centre half and then
on that
big
pitch as well.
Exactly, there's a lot of space for you to cover.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it's good. Great. It's good. I think that was probably the main thing. Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. So yeah, obviously, I suppose obviously we touched on this as well a little bit before we went live, but I feel that you a little bit of a heavy heart for you sort of leaving Yate, because I feel that you got such an affinity for the club and done so well there and had such that great team spirit and great camaraderie and great setup and all the rest of it. And then also I know you've joined Cirencester now, haven't you?
No, it was it came about really just because I'm doing I've started a master's degree.
Sorry?
Real estate, so complete left field.
Right. Going for the coinage.
Yeah. So and that's occupying a fair bit of my time. And you know, Paul has gone in as the manager at Yate, and all credit to him, he's the most professional non-league manager I've ever seen. Tries to do everything, you know, really, really well and as professionally as he possibly can do. And I don't think it would have been fair of me. Like, I was obviously captain at the time and loved being captain of the club, so I don't think it would have been fair for me to stay there knowing that there's the odd time that I'm going to have to say I can't play on a Tuesday, or there's going to be the odd time of the week where I'm not training and that kind of stuff. And I'd like to think Paul probably would have accommodated that and, you know, helped me out with it, and I probably still would have played and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't sit right with me, really, kind of being that bloke that doesn't really turn up. I know that frustrates the life out of me as a player when there's lads not turning up to training but starting at the weekend or not turning up to Tuesday games but playing Saturday games, and that comes down to, like, everyone's busy in non-league, everyone's leaving work early, everyone's kind of doing bits and bobs and busting a gut to try and get to games. That doesn't sit with me very well. So I didn't want to put myself in that position, really. So, and you know, I had the world's shortest spell at Siren the year before, where I was going to make that decision, but you turned on it, and then but yeah, the Masters kind of put paid to that, really. But yeah, no, Yate were brilliant. Love playing there, and ground, the people, the lads that are there as well, you know, are all great boys, and just one of those where unfortunately things move on, and Yate have moved on, and you know, we have to move on with it as well, and that's football. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things. Excited now to start playing for Siren. Obviously, first league game of the weekend, and feel like we've put a good squad. John's put a good squad together of, you know, a good lads and a mixture of experience and youth in there as well. There's a little bit of legs.
How's that Astro on your knees?
Oh, my back is in tatters, let me tell you that. But no, it's all good. It's nice. It's nice being able to get out there and, you know, you can pop it on that pitch, and you know, you can try and play. You can try and get the ball down and play, and that's me. I don't want to be playing on, you know, bad pitches and clipping channels and chasing up the pitch. Like, you want to try and get on the football, don't you? And that's what we're all about. Yeah.
No, brilliant, mate. Just from my point of view, and obviously I know we've known each other quite a while on that, but I think you've had a great non-league career, mate, and so, cheers, you know, mate. Sort of congratulations on that, really. I still think you've got a good number of years ahead of you, and I just think it's quite nice how you I feel like you've sort of done it the right way, if there is a right way, in the sense of that you've sort of maybe worked your way up and been happy to actually, do you know what, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go for a team where I'm actually going to play and then build myself up, as opposed to some of these young lads now. It frustrates me sometimes when they sort of think, well, I should be starting, why aren't I starting? And it's like, well, you know, perhaps there's other people that are more experienced or for tactical reasons or whatever that are in front of you. And you've had that steady progression up and proven yourself over and over again then at each club you come and play for. and it's just I think it's a really sort of, you must have quite a sort of fulfilling feeling from your career and how it's panned out.
Yeah, I think really it's just a case. I've never chased, like, I feel like sometimes, especially in non-league, like people chase money sometimes. I've never chased money, no matter kind of how much people say, oh, he's gone to here or he's gone back to there or he's gone wherever. Like, I've never moved for money. I've played, for what, when you actually think about it, I've not actually played in the Southern League for that long. There's plenty of people that played in the Southern League far longer than I have. The majority of my non-league career was playing in like the Devon and Exeter Potato League. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And you're playing because you want to play and you want to see where you fit. And like I said, I got to a point where I wanted to go, right, where do I fit? Like, just for myself, where do I fit in the grand scheme of football? Where is my kind of thing? And like I said, I wish I'd made that decision maybe a couple years sooner. If I was going to look back on my
But having
career.
said that, mate, I think maybe the way it's panned out for you, actually, maybe you wouldn't have been the sort of captain and leader you were at Yate if you didn't have them sort of earlier 1 or 2 experiences.
Yeah, 100%.
The way it's panned out for you, it might have been for the better anyway.
Yeah, you definitely could say that, and everything happens for a reason, and those kind of things, isn't it? I think in my mind, I'd love to have had, I think another couple years where I'd made that decision a bit earlier and I was playing that for a little bit longer. And my other biggest regret, I think, probably is just not looking after myself as well as what I could have done. Like, do you know what I mean? And gone, and then where would I've got to if that was the thing? There was when in that promotion season, there was National South, club had a word and kind of would I have gone there and would I have got to that? No, you can never say I would have. You can never say I wouldn't have. Like, it's more just a question. You think, if I'd have done that, would I have got to that level? Because I've played in the Southern Premier and felt not comfortable, but felt like I was kind of an okay player in that league, and I was an okay player in that league, playing against lads that are in the gym all the time, and everyone's just an athlete in that league, aren't they? And 6 foot, quick, ripped. And they've looked after themselves, and that's why they play in that league. And fair play to them. But if I'd have done that, where would I have then sat? And I don't know. Just a question you ask yourself, isn't it? Too late now, it's gone. But
well, I still think you've got. I still think you've got quite a few more good years left in you, mate. And listen, it's been great talking to you today. Thanks for giving up your time to have a little chat with me. And it's been really good. So we'll wrap up now.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, no problem. So you've been listening to Chalk Talk. If you've enjoyed this video, please can you like and subscribe? Hit that subscribe button. We're trying to develop and grow our community as we go along. And here's to you, Des, and great career. And I think you still got a lot more to offer. And enjoy that Potato League. All right.
Cheers, Whitey.
Well, mate. Cheers.
Bye.